So we just left the consulate. We actually got a COVID antibody test and a COVID test that we weren't anticipating just because there happened to be somebody working a site. We went to the consulate in order to get some authentications for bank documents so that I would be able to access my parents' banks. I don't think that's going to apply to most people, so I don't think you really need to care about that, but for context, it is D-12 until going to Korea, and we just finished all the necessary things that we needed from the consulate. Hello, it's currently D-10 until the trip to Korea, and I'm going to be working on resubmitting my form for quarantine exemption. My previous form was actually rejected, and the reason that they put for the rejection or return of the form was like, oh, read this website. So I need to actually read the website to figure out what I did wrong and then resubmit my form. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so as a super random update, I just finished emailing the consulate with my quarantine exemption form, and I immediately got an automatic email response. Pretty much it says that hopefully you can expect a response before 24 hours of your actual flight date. So we'll see when they get back to me. I wasn't planning on taking a video like this early, but I got a response from the consulate super duper quickly. But yeah, so long story short, it took 12 minutes, same day, for the consulate to get back to me and give me my quarantine exemption. Also, I wanted to say that it was after their hours, so the consulate actually closes at 4:30 and they still got to me past 4:30. Hello, it is currently D-5 until I head to Korea, and I'll be scheduling the COVID PCR test that is required to board your flight. Full disclaimer that policies are always changing and it might not be the same for when you go, so you should always be checking your local embassy's website as well as also the Korean government website. So I just finished making my COVID test appointment. When you're taking your COVID test, you might want to add a couple hour buffer between the 72-hour mark of your flight, because if your flight is actually delayed for any reason, you really want that buffer to make sure that your COVID test is valid for when you go to Korea. So for example, if my flight was on Saturday at like 7 p.m., I would want a COVID test that would unrealistically be like taken at like 11 p.m. or 12 a.m. just so that if it happens to be a flight delay, you would still be able to have your COVID test results from when your flight took off. Also, one other thing is to call your testing provider or the particular location that you'll be taking your test at and ask them when they'll be taking your test samples to the lab. So for example, if you're taking it at a test place that only takes the lab samples at the end of the day, it wouldn't matter if you took your test at 9 a.m. or 3 p.m. when you get your results back, because technically all of those samples would be moved that night. However, if it's a place that actually moves your samples twice a day, it would make a difference whether or not you take a testing appointment at like 12 p.m. right before they take the first batch and like 3 p.m. So that's also something that you might want to consider before making your COVID appointment. Alrighty, just came out of AAA and I got my international license. This is what it looks like. It costed $20, and then you also have to bring your own passport photos. If you don't have a membership with AAA, they said that it was $20 to take the passport photos here. Also, I forgot to say this, but it is currently D-4 until going to Korea, and technically you can apply for your international driver's permit much earlier. I just procrastinated. The process is super easy. I think we stayed in the office for like less than 10 minutes because I had the form already ready. Okay, bye-bye. Hello, it is currently D-2 until my flight to Korea, and I am here to get my PCR COVID test that is required to board the flight. Currently in line for this drive-through COVID testing, so we'll see how long it takes. Yeah, I'm here for a COVID test. Do you need my ID? Okay. 다 했습니다. We are done. I'll update once I get the results, but it looks like the process itself took about 3 to 5 minutes. I think the most time that it took was her just processing the documents. Make sure you have your ID, your health insurance card if you have it, and then also your appointment time. For this drive-thru in particular, there were a lot of people, so I actually got started about 15 minutes later than my appointment time, but she said it was fine and that the sample would still be sent in today. Hello, it is currently D-1/D day of my flight to Korea. It's actually 2 a.m. and my flight's in 9 hours. I've been so busy today that I wasn't able to really vlog the entire process, but I'll still be able to go over everything that I've done yesterday and today. I activated my Citibank card. I actually opened up a Citibank account because my parents said that Citibank existed in Korea and that could be my source of ATM cash money if I need Korean cash. So another thing that I did yesterday was to look up if the medications that I was carrying to Korea were illegal. You should probably do this at least a month before your flight, especially if you think that your medications might be illegal in Korea, because you might want to request, or you should request, a doctor's note. I was pretty confident that my medication was not illegal, so I kind of pushed that back and I ended up finally looking it up yesterday. All the medications that I'll be taking to Korea have to do with my eczema, so I just put them in my bag. I don't have a doctor's note, so we'll see if they get confiscated. So make sure to also keep your prescription packaging that has your name on it. Keep your medication in their original packaging, and then also get a doctor's note. I also know that if it is a medication that is illegal in Korea, you do have to go through this entire process where you can actually get it approved by the Korean government to bring abroad. So I personally didn't do this, so I don't know a lot about it, but I do know that some other study abroad students have been going through that process for the ADHD medicine, so if that applies to you, you might want to do some further research. Finally, the things that I did today. So I actually printed out my quarantine exemption form. Fun fact, they actually got my gender wrong on the quarantine exemption form, so I actually sent them an email at 1 a.m. and I don't even know if they'll get back to me before my flight, so that might be a problem. We'll see how that goes, but regardless, I was instructed to print 4 copies of that authentication form, so I did that, and while I was printing it, my parents got really angry and frustrated with me because my COVID test results were not sent by then, and this was around like 11 p.m. I was also pretty stressed about this, and we were researching ways in which you could get a PCR COVID test at the airport before your flight. So they do have options for that if you happen to also have gotten a COVID test that doesn't send you the results in time. Sorry, it's literally like 2 a.m. and I had a long day, so please excuse my lack of English knowledge / fluency. Luckily for us, the COVID test results came in by like 11 p.m. so I was able to physically print out those test results. If you're wondering about the processing time for my COVID test, I actually took my COVID test Thursday at 1 p.m. and I knew that they would be collecting the samples at 2 p.m. Unfortunately, what I didn't account for is that the time that it takes for the test samples to be received by the lab was almost 24 hours. I actually don't have a screenshot of what it was before, but it literally just said, oh, we have yet to receive your lab sample, and it honestly was the most nerve-wracking thing ever. But it gave me a little message saying that we have received the sample and we'll be like working to get you your test results soon. And that was around 4 p.m. and then around 11 p.m. I actually got my test results. So that was about a 7-hour time in between them receiving the test sample and me getting my results. And I was expecting it to be around that time because the website actually said that their average processing time was around 6-7 hours. So you might definitely want to check the total average time in which they receive a lab sample and in which they actually send out results, because I think that's really important and it can save you a lot of anxiety. Once I got my test results, I actually did the entire self-check-in process on my airline. I actually had to submit the document of my negative COVID test, but actually you're apparently allowed to do that at the airport. Make sure to also print out a physical copy if you get access to it, because they really do want a physical copy. Another thing I'm going to do right after I end this video is I'm going to be texting my point of contact the estimated time of my arrival, because her number is what I'm going to be putting on my form. This is the person that you will be staying with or the person who's in charge of the place that you're staying with. The reason why you want to text your point of contact about your arrival time is because they should be expecting a call from the Korean government confirming that you will be staying at their place. It's really, really important that your person answers their phone call. I've seen a lot of horror stories where people were like unable to get in contact with their person and they had to have like an extended wait time. So make sure your point of contact is a responsible person who knows to be next to their phone around the time that you'll be arriving. Finally, the last thing I did today was to prepare my cash in Korean money because I will be either taking the bus or the private taxi and I need to be able to pay them. If you have a credit card, I believe that they will be accepting that payment, but maybe you'll see that in the next vlog. Right now, I have prepared my travel documents, which include my passport, my visa, my negative COVID test, which was printed out, as well as my quarantine exemption form. I have my health insurance and I also have my international driver's license. I don't think I said it during that part of the vlog, but the reason why I actually got an international driver's license is because I might go to Jeju Island and you really can't use public transportation at Jeju Island. So if you're planning on going to Jeju Island while you're in Korea, I really, really recommend getting an international driver's license. I believe that's it. I hope you all have an amazing time getting ready for your trip to Korea. I swear it's really, really stressful, but if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. Hopefully, I will be able to get a lot of footage of my entire process of getting onto the flight and going to Korea. So you might want to look forward to that video. But regardless, I hope everybody has an amazing time in Korea. Have a great day, everyone. Make sure to take care of yourself. Stay happy.
저희 본격적으로 샌프란시스코 공항으로 출발합니다. 출발! 왜 다들 말이 없어?
출발!